I own MedAid Pharmacy in Mission. We serve about 75 to 80% Medicaid patients. Every day I'm in danger of losing my pharmacy because the reimbursements are just so low. And I don't want to shut my doors because I provide a great service to my patients, services that you can't find anywhere else. The members of the Rio Grande Valley Independent Pharmacy Association on average service about 70 to 80% Medicaid patients. And filling that amount and then seeing a 50% reduction is devastating to a lot of stores.
I've drilled down, if you will, my operating expenses consistently for the last 3 or 4 years. In this last year was the hardest drill down, if you will. We saved the most money as ever on operating expenses. But the jury's still out as to whether or not those changes and adjustments are going to be sufficient to weather the storm.
It takes about $1,000 to $1,200 to make it. In one day you have to pay the pharmacist and you have to pay the technicians and set aside some money for the utilities. So the first day, almost the end of the day, a third of what we needed had come in. It was the same patient mix, 98% Medicaid, 98% pediatrics, that we have every day. And there was no point, we had to pull the plug then.
Well, the MAC list is determined by the PBMs, and it's, again, their maximum allowable cost. It's the maximum amount that they'll reimburse for a drug. How it's determined is the big question. Is where do they come up with it? Because there are multiple MAC lists for a single drug. The state has a MAC list that's worked for years, but they have allowed these PBMs to work with their practices and their MAC list.
Well, I think the state should make a good faith effort to investigate all aspects of this program. Are they really saving money? Are the independent stores, some chains even, being somewhat discriminated against by the policies put in place by the managed care companies? That the state wants to save money, but yet they've introduced 2 for-profit companies between the state and the pharmacy. How do you save money by putting 2 more people into the system? They're obviously making a profit, huge profits that the PBMs are making, and the MCOs are making big profits as well. How do they save the state money? Well, it's at the expense of somebody.
I can't encourage people to open their own pharmacy because they're not going to make it. So I feel like, that part of the education has been stolen, that piece of pharmacy that everyone wants to have their own store. That's not there anymore.
All the PBMs are located outside of the state of Texas, and how smart is that for our legislators to take money out of Texas' pocket and put it into other states?
Well, what we're doing to try to change managed care is to educate the public, educate our legislators, and hopefully we can survive before the next legislative session.